I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is strike when the iron is cold. So this is a tactic that I started to implement several years ago, and it has been a game changer with respect to not engaging in unproductive conversations. In fact, since I adopted this tactic, I haven't gotten into a single heated argument with anyone. And this is because it really does take two to tango. Two people don't fight if one person isn't interested. So if there is a fight, it's generally because both people wanted it to happen. And this means that if we want to reduce the amount of unnecessary conflict in the world, we kind of have to figure out how to keep our cool when other people have lost theirs. One thing I've learned as a therapist is that once people pass a certain threshold of emotion, their capacity to think rationally is completely compromised. The type of emotion doesn't matter. We started talking about arguments, so it's often anger, but it can also be hopelessness and despondency, or fear and terror, or jealousy and insecurity. Only the intensity of the emotion is relevant, not its timbre. And once this line is crossed, words are generally powerless. This means that the most useful truth, or the most trenchant insight, or the most persuasive piece of evidence is going to fall on deaf ears. They will just not be able to hear it. Or even worse, they'll hear it through the lens of their emotion, which will generally cause the comment to be perceived as an attack on the continued existence of the emotion in question. And this will lead to defensiveness, minimization, and invalidation. Remember, emotions are living things. And like living things, they will fight to preserve their lives in a myriad of ways. All this is to say that the most appropriate time to say, bring up that your partner tends to throw you under the bus with her parents, or that she teases you in front of her friends, or that she hasn't been pulling her weight around the house, might not actually be the moment you notice it or in the thick of an argument. People often think that the time to talk about these things is generally when they are most emotionally salient, i.e., strike when the iron is hot. However, I've found that doing so functionally guarantees that whatever reasonable point you are about to make will be completely lost. A much better idea, on the other hand, is to strike when the iron is cold. That is, to bring up issues in the absence of emotionality. This can be difficult to do because the issues will feel less relevant when they are disconnected from any kind of emotional urgency. However, if you're actually interested in being heard and influencing change, then bringing up issues in the absence of emotionality will significantly improve your likelihood of success. The right word is wasted if it's delivered at the wrong moment. So what do you do? The idea here is to kind of put that comment in your back pocket and wait for your moment. When the opportunity presents itself, you can then speak your piece like a surgical strike, and I'll explain how to recognize that opportunity in a moment. For the time being, however, if you perceive that someone has crossed the threshold of excessive emotionality, the name of the game is de-escalation. Gently avoid, don't get drawn in, let some time pass. And this is very helpful. Give the person the benefit of the doubt in your mind. Consciously remind yourself that they're just temporarily not seeing clearly, but they'll be able to see the error of their ways when they come back to their senses. In the meantime, that comment can go right in your back pocket. Keep in mind that your back pocket as a cognitive construct is functionally limitless. You can fit a lot more back there than you might think. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word-of-mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. I'm also proud to announce that my book, The Value of Others, is now available for pre-sale on Amazon. I'm also writing original content for my free newsletter every week. If you'd like to sign up, you can do so on my website. Finally, please fill out an inquiry form on my website if you're interested in booking a paid consultation. Links to everything in the description. Let's get back to it. Now, of course, the same goes for you as well. If your own emotions have passed a certain point, then it's typically a good idea to table further discussion until you can get that under control. The vast majority of issues do not need to be resolved right then and there. This perception of pressured necessity tends to force discussion, which generally leads to suboptimal results. If you're emotionally activated, then anything you say or do will be colored with that emotion, which could very well create more problems than it solves, especially when it comes to anger. So if you can resist the urge to force the issue right then and there, if you can resist the impulse to engage in unproductive back and forth, then you will be in a much better position if and when the individual in question comes back for a discussion. And in my experience, most people do come back after they've calmed down, especially if you chose not to engage them in kind. This is because your unwillingness to enter into their emotional world will cause their behavior to exist in stark contrast to yours. They very clearly will have stepped over a line because you didn't step over it with them. On the other hand, if for whatever reason they succeed in drawing you in, then you will have both been tainted and an apology will be less likely. In any case, when the person comes back to repair the situation, this is the perfect opportunity to strike when the iron is cold. This is because the individual in question will not only not be emotional, but he or she will have taken the initiative to come to you. This is the minimum necessary effort that you should expect from people with whom you decide to have relationships. And if people are unwilling or unable to make this minimum effort, then you might need to have a hard talk with the person in the mirror to figure out why you're working to keep these people in your life. Do not chase people down after they've behaved badly. Trust that most will come back when they're ready, and be willing to let go of the ones who don't. And this effort is necessary because it functionally communicates some measure of regret. The cognitive dissonance created between the memory of their behavior and their preferred self-concept has motivated them to take corrective action, which indicates that they will be much more open to corrective feedback as well. Just like it's not a good idea to offer advice unless it's explicitly asked for, because let me tell you, it can be hard enough to get people to follow advice that they do explicitly ask for. It's not a good idea to offer corrective feedback unless the other person is in a position to receive it appropriately. And that feedback can just stay in your back pocket until they're ready for it. Don't worry, the truth doesn't rust. If it's true now, it will be true in a few hours or a few days or a few weeks. Don't worry. And you can do more good with the right word at the right time than you can endlessly repeating the same message when someone isn't ready to hear it. Just save your breath. In any case, the best time to discuss an issue is generally when both parties are level-headed and unemotional. And this is often not the moment the issue has presented itself. If you choose your moment correctly, then you're not only less likely to make matters worse, but you may actually succeed in improving the situation with your effective communication as well. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your support and thank you for listening. And now, a word about Stellar. If you're interested in pursuing a master's degree or a doctorate, chances are good that you'll have to take the GRE. Now, before I became a psychologist, I was actually one of the world's top GRE test prep instructors. Over 20 years, I developed a unique and practical system for dismantling every aspect of this test, and I helped thousands of students achieve top percentile scores on the exam. Today, students can learn the same system I used to achieve my own perfect score with Stellar GRE, my online GRE self-study program. I personally wrote and designed every aspect of this course. Among other things, it includes a 500-page test prep manual, thousands of practice problems, and several full-length mock exams. Just like my episodes, Stellar is designed to give students the strategies and techniques they need to succeed as clearly and succinctly as possible. And the best part is, Stellar works. My students' average score improvements are higher than my competitors' score guarantees. So create an account and start your free trial today at stellargre.com. Use the code PSYCH for 10% off any membership plan. The link is in the description.